Hello guys, welcome to the Quantity Surveying Academy. In today's tutorial we are going to be dealing with taking off quantities for finishes. Now here is the plan we'll be working with, and for the sake of these tutorials I'm going to be dealing with only this part of the plan where we have two bedrooms. That is, we have two bedrooms here, a living room, dining, kitchen, lobby, and then we have toilet and shower too. Then we have a visitor's toilet and the veranda. So I'm not going to be touching any part of this plan, like this other part of the plan at the right hand side. And this particular structure is a story building, so we have the ground floor and then we have the first floor. But I'm just going to show us how to take off quantities for floor finishes using just this portion of the plan, because if you are able to take off quantities for this portion of the plan, then you should be able to do the same for every other part of the plan. Alright, so to carry out our taking off for finishes, the first thing I need to look into is to have a schedule. So when you are working with finishes, whether it is floor, ceiling or wall finishes, you would always be given a schedule that looks like this. So you can see this schedule. This is gotten from Quantity Surveyor's pocket book, so you can actually look for this book on Amazon and get one for yourself. It's very important. Alright, so for the floor, because in this video I'm just going to be dealing with just floor finishes, I'm going to be creating another video for ceiling finishes and wall finishes so that we can get the information in a concise and short manner. Now for the floor finishes, we have different rooms. We have G1, G2, G3. So in your examinations or in your professional practice, you may end up seeing a finishing schedule that looks like this. But in those situations, instead of having G1, G2, you may end up having things like bedroom 1, or you may have bedroom and living room. Then in this place you end up having something like toilet and kitchen and the rest of it. So this floor, you come to realize that there's going to be screeding that will be done in the floor for the finishes, and after the screeding then there will be carpet placed on it. And then aside from this, that is, let me say this is for, let's say, for the living room, then let's assume that G2 is bedroom. So maybe in the bedroom you may end up having screeding and tiling. So that means that on this plan, the finishes, the first part of the finishes would specify that the living room will be having carpet and screeding, while other rooms will be having screeding and tiling. But for the sake of the tutorial, I'm going to assume that all the rooms in this particular plan are going to be consisting of screeding and tiling. So if the tiling in dining and kitchen are different from the tiling in living room and bedroom, then you have to take note of the fact that you would need to describe for this compartment, for this part of the building separately. Alright, let me move down to my spreadsheet. Now my spreadsheet, if you see, I already have my taking off for finishes prepared on this spreadsheet here, and I actually got my descriptions by making use of the specification that is stated here and also the NRM2. Now if you are in Nigeria, just take note of the fact that NRM2 and BESMM4, which is used in Nigeria, are identical. If you can look at this carefully, you see that in NRM2 section 28 is dealing with floor, wall, ceiling and roof finishes. The same thing with the BESMM4. So this is the BESMM4 and it is still section 1.28. Sorry, let me you can see 1.28 floor, wall, ceiling and roof finishes. So it's the same thing, section 28. So since they are the same, I'm just going to work with the NRM2, and all items in the description sections are literally the same as well for these two method of measurement. I know in other countries you make use of SMM7. They may also have some kinds of similarity or possibly similar, the same stuffs in this section, so just take note of that. Alright, now let us move down to the drawing. When you are taking off for finishes, the first thing you should bear in mind is that your finishes is measured in meters square, provided that the area is more than 600, the width is more than 600 mm. That is what is specified in the NRM. You can see greater than 600 mm wide is meter square, less than 600 mm wide is in meters. So you take note of that. And looking at the rooms are large already. They are large enough, the rooms are large enough to be more than 600 mm, and that means we can actually work with our meter squares for finishes. So for the floor finish, I'm going to pick room by room, and that is how you should always do it, whether you are working on this in an examination or an assessment, or maybe you are doing this in your professional work. you just need to take note of it, that you take it room by room in order to prepare your bill of quantity. So like I said earlier, if the specification gives you a different type of tile for these bedrooms, and then the tiling in the toilet and kitchen are different from the ones you have in the bedroom, so you have to take note that you take care of the bedrooms first, you describe the type of tiling and then the screeding, then you do the booking for the bedroom before you go down to do the same for the kitchen. But like I said, to make this tutorial short, I decided to make sure that all the rooms are going to be comprise of the same type of tile. So in that case, I'm going to have just one description for all these rooms, and then I can now begin to pick their dimensions one after the other. So let me move down to our spreadsheet. Permit me to split the screen. Alright, so I've splitted my screen. So this is what I have. Alright, so this is the taking off. I have taken off quantities for floor finishes. So the first thing to do is to describe, and your description is going to be done in line with the NRM2 or your BESMM 4, and you are going to work with what you have in the specification. So in the NRM2, for the finishes number 2 here, I have finish to floors. That is why I have it as floor finish here. So you can see we have floor finish. So the next thing is types of finish. In the NRM2, type of finish should be stated. So when I go back to my specification, I'm not using G1, I'm going to use G2 throughout, and I'm dealing with floor finish, so there's no need to look at where we have ceiling here. So I'm looking at just this floor, and nothing concerns me with the other part of this specification. When we get to the next video, we'll be working with them. So for floor finish, I have 35mm screed, 35mm cement and sand screed. Then I also have 305 by 305 vinyl floor tile. So this is the type of tile, and because the NRM2 says we should state the type of finish, that is why I decided to state the type of tile: 305 by 305 mm vinyl floor tiles over 600 mm wide. So this is the first description for the finish itself. But remember that before you carry out this tiling work, or before you place your tile, you must carry out screeding. The screeding is always done with cement and sand to give you a level surface and at a particular and a uniform depth to which this tile is going to be laid. And so the screeding is going to be done with materials, and we have to measure for it. And this is the description for the screeding. So we have screed bed, toppings, thickness and number of coats stated. So that is why we have that 35 mm cement and sand screed to floors over 600 mm wide, because it is greater than 600 mm wide, so it's going to be in meter square. Level and to falls not exceeding 15 degrees. You can see it in this place here. Level and to falls not exceeding. So you can see I had the coding written here so that you can make reference to it subsequently. Now I haven't done these two descriptions for the entire rooms. Like I said, the entire rooms are the same, so they can have just one description. You don't need to be repeating it over and over again. All you need to do is to begin your booking. So let us do the booking as fast as possible. So like I said, your booking should be in area, that is meter square, and secondly it should be in to in. So the dimension should be taken from inside to this other part internally. If you're not giving in to in dimension, then you need to make use of this out to out dimension and less the wall thickness here and at this point, and you repeat the same thing at the other side. So just take note of that. So for in to in dimension, bedroom, I have 3675 by 3000. So that is why if I write it down in meters, it's going to be 3.68 by 3.00. I multiplied it by 2 because we have 2 bedrooms and they are all identical. After the bedroom, I went straight to the kitchen. We have 2.20 by 3.00. So this is it, 2.20 by 3.00. Now we move down to the dining. In the dining, we have 2400 by 3000. So this is it, 2400 here by 3000 for the dining. Then after the dining, we move straight to the living room. Remember, I told you I'm not touching this other part. I'm going to just stick to this place here. The living room here, we have 3.6 by 4.58. We have 4575 here. If you approximate it, it's going to be 4.58. After the living room, the next thing is the visitor's toilet. We have 1000 by 3000. So you can see it here, 1.00 by 3.00. After that, we move down to the veranda here. So we have the veranda. The veranda is 3600. That is from this point to this point by 1200. That is why I have it as 3.60 by 1.20. the next thing to do is to pick the lobby. See, we haven't picked the lobby yet. The lobby is giving us 2,425. Let me zoom it a bit again in case you aren't seeing it clearly. 2,425 by 2,775. So I have to book it down here in meters. It's going to be 2.43. If I convert it from 2,425 to meters, it's 2.43 approximately by 2.78. You can notice this is 2,775. So if you approximate this, or sorry, change it to meters in 2 decimal places, it's going to be 2.75 will be rounded up to add to 7 to make it 2.78. So I have it as 2.78. And the last thing I have not touched yet is the toilet and shower, which are identical here. So the dimension is given as 2,250 by 1,275. So for the shower, I have it as 2.25 by 1.28. Then I multiplied it by 2 because I have 2 identical toilet and shower here. So please take note that let me open this up. In this spreadsheet here for taking off quantities for floor finishes, the reason why we have just these 2 descriptions here is because the assumption is that all the internal finishes are the same. I'm going to still make another example that will show you what to do when the internal finishes are different. Now I wrote out these figures here, the squaring of these values here, for the sake of students that are studying in European countries, probably South Africa, because I've noticed that their level of assessment is always different from the one we have here in Nigeria, Ghana, and some other places. So if you are in the European country, normally your assessment will be given to you and you will be given a time frame for you to take it home and work on it, and in that case you'll be also required to prepare a bill of quantities. So if you are going to prepare a bill of quantities and you are working on floor finishes, just remember to square all the dimensions. So it's going to be 2 multiplied by 3.68 multiplied by 3.0, that will give us 22.08. so you repeat the same thing, 2.2 multiplied by 3.0, it will give you your 6.60. so after multiplying everything down, the total value is going to be 69.32. now this value is what you'll be transferring to your bill of quantity for this particular floor finish and for the screening section in the bills of quantities. But if you are studying in Nigeria, Ghana, and some places where you have to do a sit in the hall exams and you'll be given a plan to work on immediately, you don't need to do this squaring because it is not really required, except if you are asked to prepare a draft bill of quantities after you are done with the taking off. But if you are not asked to prepare a draft bill of quantities, for the sake of your exams, just stick to whatsoever you are doing, finish up your description and the dimensioning, and then you are good to go. And for Nigerians, always remember to put your coding somewhere around here. So just pick this coding here and put it somewhere around here, pick this other one and put it somewhere around here, because these are the things that the assessors are going to be looking at when they are marking your examination script. I hope this is clear enough, and I hope I've done justice to taking off quantities for floor finishes. Now that you've learned about this, I believe you would want to really know how to take off quantities for ceiling finishes. And if you are really interested in knowing how to take off quantities for ceiling finishes, just click at the video that is at the left, right, okay, I think left corner, yeah, just click on the video that is at the left corner, and I believe you'll be able to understand very carefully. So thank you very much for your time. Have a nice day.